Not only humans, but everything that surrounds us, like animals, everything living around us, also has intelligence. The same goes for cats, dogs, cows, and so on. Your only civilizational leap is that before you used to eat them raw, and now you kill and cook them, and eat them in restaurants by candlelight. That is your level of development.
In the alien abduction literature, there are a number of reported cases in which experiencers said they were given messages about respect for animals, environmental destruction, ecological collapse, or humanity's relationship with other life. Many experiencers later concluded on their own that veganism or vegetarianism was the logical ethical response. Harvard psychiatrist John Mack interviewed dozens of people who believed they had been abducted. One of the striking patterns he described was that many people reported receiving vivid communications concerning humanity's abuse of nature, including the destruction of forests, pollution of oceans, and extinction of species. According to Mack, many experiencers underwent profound personal transformations afterwards, developing a stronger ecological consciousness and a sense of kinship with all living beings. Mack viewed these experiences as psychologically or spiritually significant experiences, regardless of their ultimate origin. One famous case that Mack investigated was the aerial school contact event that happened in 1994 in Zimbabwe, Africa, where 62 school children reported seeing unusual beings and unusual lights, as well as some type of craft. Several children said they received a telepathic impression warning about environmental destruction, misuse of technology, and humanity's future. Concern for Earth's ecology was central to many of the children's recollections. Some of the strongest vegan and environmental messages tend to come from contactees rather than abductees. This distinction is important because contactee narratives are generally more positive and philosophical, as to where messages received during abductions tend toward a more apocalyptic tone. Beginning in the 1950s, contactees such as George Adamski, Howard Menger, George Van Tassel, and Elizabeth Clare all claimed that benevolent space beings taught humanity that advanced civilizations lived peacefully, avoided war, respected nature, and often practiced vegetarianism. Jim Sparks, author of The Keepers, claimed repeated abductions over many years, after which he came away with a much deeper concern for the natural world. According to Sparks, the beings repeatedly warned him about environmental collapse, destruction of ecosystems, human greed, and mistreatment of animals. Elizabeth Clare attributed messages of peace and environmental stewardship to the advanced beings she claimed to have met. Clare, born in 1910, was a South African who had studied meteorology, learned to fly aircraft, and served in a meteorological intelligence role during World War II. She argued that this background helped her distinguish unusual aerial phenomena from ordinary atmospheric events. Beginning in the mid-1950s, she publicly claimed repeated contact with a human-looking extraterrestrial named Akon, whom she said came from a planet in the Alpha Centauri system. Her claims included repeated UFO encounters beginning in childhood. According to her book, Beyond the Light Barrier, advanced civilizations survive because they have learned to live in harmony with each other and with nature. The beings she was in contact with described their society as emphasizing peace instead of war, cooperation instead of competition, spiritual development, scientific advancement, guided by ethics, and respect for nature and the environment. Clare repeatedly described the other civilization as having a profound reverence for life. According to her descriptions, Animals were treated with kindness rather than exploitation. The beings viewed themselves as part of nature rather than masters over it. Their advanced civilization had outgrown violence as a normal way of life. She presented a worldview in which compassion toward all living things was a natural consequence of spiritual maturity rather than a single dietary rule. Her reported message contains a striking ethical theme that echoes across many experiencer accounts: that a civilization's level of advancement is measured not merely by its technology, but rather by its level of compassion. They're interpreted as genuine physical encounters or symbolic spiritual experiences. Similar messages appear across many decades of UFO narratives. The recurring themes are remarkably consistent: that humanity is part of a larger web of life, that technological power without compassion is dangerous, that ecological destruction threatens civilization, and moral progress is linked to how humans treat other living beings. Modern UFO contactee and experiencer of the phenomena, Chris Bledsoe, explains in interviews and in his book UFO of God how respect for animal life has become a recurring theme in how he interprets his experiences. Bledsoe has often described himself as an avid hunter before his encounters. He has said he enjoyed every aspect of hunting deer, bear, ducks, and other animals. He says that after his experiences, he underwent a profound moral shift. He no longer enjoys killing animals and now sees them as innocent beings deserving compassion. He has said that he no longer hunts for sport. He believes animals are innocent little creatures and that taking life unnecessarily no longer feels right to him. Bledsoe's central visionary figure, whom he calls the Lady, primarily conveys to him themes of love, compassion, unity, healing, care for humanity, and spiritual transformation. Her teachings encourage reverence for all living beings. In accounts of his regression and later retellings, Bledsoe says he encountered beings who described themselves as guardians. According to his account, they conveyed that Earth is something precious that humanity has a responsibility to care for, an idea that aligns with environmental stewardship rather than dominion. He frequently says the experiences changed him from someone who was, in his own words, comfortable with killing animals, into someone who tries to live with greater kindness toward every form of life. Across decades of reported UFO encounters, from the peaceful contactees of the 1950s to modern abductee accounts, a remarkably consistent theme has emerged: a call for greater compassion. While the details vary, many experiencers describe receiving messages that humanity must outgrow violence, exploitation, and domination if it hopes to mature as a civilization. These accounts often emphasize reverence for all life, concern for the destruction of nature, and the idea that technological advancement without moral and spiritual growth is dangerous. Many experiencers say their encounters transformed the way they viewed animals, leading them to see them not as resources but as fellow living beings worthy of empathy and respect. Whether these experiences are understood as literal extraterrestrial contact, psychological phenomena, or symbolic spiritual experiences, the recurring ethical message is striking. Our future may depend less on how advanced our technology becomes than on how deeply our circle of compassion expands.